my $10,000 Ford Fiesta is way more fun than your $300,000 Lamborghini. I can promise you.
Yeah.
I sat there and I watched all of ICT's videos on 2x speed.
Yeah.
For like, I think it was 180 hours. Trading's hard. Trading is really hard, but it's super worth it.
Welcome everybody to an exciting podcast. Here today we have Arty from The Moving Average, and we've got Christian and Gary, myself from FunderPro. So we're just going to have a chat here today about really a lot of wide-ranging things. We're going to talk about trading, we're going to talk about mindset, we're going to talk about deep work, and plenty of other things in between. Looking forward to a good chat. Welcome, Arty.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So maybe just to start, I know a lot of people will be familiar with your content, your channel, but for the people out there that'll be watching who aren't so used to seeing your content, maybe if you could give a little bit of a background of yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a content creator. I have a YouTube channel called The Moving Average. I teach day trading, very lenient towards beginner day traders. And I started that because I wanted, it essentially started from me sending small tutorials to people. So I was day trading. I was making relatively good profit. I was living a really decent lifestyle. I posted about it on my Instagram. And the 37 people that followed me from high school were asking me how I would make, this money. And so I sent them little day trading tutorials. And I had already made YouTube videos prior to that. So it was more Casey Neistat vlogging. And as I was making these videos and sending it to these people, I was like, this is an amazing YouTube channel idea. And so I just went 100,000,000% into it. I made 3 videos every single day for the first 30 days so that I would already have a library of 90 videos on the beginner basics of day trading, candles, formations, patterns, moving averages, indicators. And that was just the perfect platform to grow on because I had all the beginner stuff and I had enough videos for people to binge watch, and the channel just took off. Within a year, over 100,000 subscribers. So
yeah, because I remember I saw your channel in the beginning, and I think you had 2,000-3,000 followers, and I think, oh, this is good. But suddenly, bam, it just took off. Why do you think it took off so fast?
So when I educate in a way that I feel that I would learn better. And I feel like most people are like me. I'm pretty average, the moving average. And so I make analogies and I put things in a easier to understand format. I explain very intelligent topics in a very easy to understand way. No big words. And I feel that people resonate with that because they want to learn a specific strategy, but they don't want to watch 30-minute tutorial of a guy that can't really convey a sentence or a topic. And so before I hit the record button, I know exactly what I want to teach. And I know exactly that this is going to take me 8 minutes. And I know it's exactly everything that you need. So I put out that video and, you guys like it. And then in the comment sections of those videos, you're like, hey, could you talk about, the difference between simple moving average and an exponential moving average? And that's my next video idea. And then the comments on that is, oh my God, you read my mind, but can you make a video on this? And so you guys feed me the video topics. So the more videos I make for you based on what you want, the smarter I get because I'm literally learning as I was already a good trader. I just got better through teaching.
Something you touched on is taking that feedback from the comments, from what people are saying, because I think so often we think we know what people want and you go ahead and you make it and you're assuming what they want because maybe you're putting your own frame on it.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important to listen to your audience, listen to people who are using it day in, day out, and then getting that to guide. Because I think from a success point of view, the easiest, at the end of the day, business is simple. Give people what they want.
Exactly.
And so you can either assume what they want or you can actually ask or take the feedback, because people are so generous with their feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes not so good, but anyway, that's fine.
And that's again, if you look at the comment section, like just read 15 comments and I guarantee you'll read this one and it says, "Oh my God, you read my mind." And it's not that, "Oh my God, I read his mind." It's because 90 other people had that same comment on the previous video. And being a solo creator, like I upload the videos, I edit the videos, I read all the comments, I respond to all the comments. And so if you're ever having a creative lag or you can't think of a video to make, just read your comment section. All the answers are there for you. I have probably 2,000 videos on a notebook that are video ideas for the future.
For the future.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's never ending.
Wow.
Yeah. I made an email service where I would just be like, "Hey, if you guys have a video recommendation or you want to see something, me teach something specific."
Yeah, because I was thinking about it. How can you continue coming up with things, right?
So I made a TMA FX, like submission, TMA.
And people use it?
And people just emailed me thousands of video ideas. Wow. And I was like, sweet,
Smart,
my writer's block is over.
Very smart.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think, so obviously you're doing a lot of education and you've got your course and you have your full education school. What are those kind of most common questions that people are asking? Because I assume there's kind of, rather than singular questions, there's trends. What are the main things that people are asking or struggling with?
I see a lot of people struggling with, how do I commit to entering a trade? Mm-hmm. That's like one of the key ones, because they'll do their back testing, do their analysis, but then when it comes to actually executing a trade live, they're like, "Ooh, maybe I shouldn't because I see this." And it keeps them out of the trade. Mm-hmm. And then 20 minutes later, they check back, the trade went in their direction, and then they have that fear or that I missed out.
Yeah.
So.
And what do you answer back?
My answer is always the same. If you have 3 or 4 confluences, ignore your feelings, get in the trade. It's either going to work or it's not. Mm-hmm. But if you've done your back testing, you know that the statistics over time, even if it's a losing trade, you'll show profit at the end of each month.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's such a binary thing. It's like you either do it or you don't do it.
Yeah.
To stress about it, it's literally a waste of time.
Yeah.
I think that kind of takes it back to the point of, the analysis is only one part. It's kind of your risk management and the probability that you're saying are those parts that round it out. Because, as you say, you don't have to win every trade. You just have to get your risk management right and win enough of them that your strategy is making sense.
Yeah. And you hear, I don't know, like I watch a lot of YouTube videos on day trading, but some of the most, like the best traders in the entire world that work for these financial companies, they had a 5% win rate, mm-hmm. but it was, a 1 to 9,000. So I'm fine with that. I could lose a bunch of trades.
And so I suppose one of the key things that we see as well, I suppose, is the expectation of how much somebody can make and consistently make. As well, what would you say to a trader coming in? What should that expectation be? 1%, 5%, 10% a month?
I think as a new trader, regardless of what your account size is, preferably small, you're a new trader, the odds are against you with the statistics. But imagine if you had an account with $100 and every single time you only risked 1% and you were looking for a 2%. That skill set translates to any account size. So you do that consistently enough, you can. I remember at a time I was making, like I had a 50K account for a really, really long time. That was my primary account. That's all I traded. I would get 6 to 8% a month. And I was completely fine with that because I thought about what my expenses are. I wasn't trying to buy Bugattis or Lamborghinis. I was just trying to provide for my family. And that's what a majority of people want. Yeah. They see the lifestyle, they see all the fancy, flashy things, but most people don't need it, nor will they even respect it when they get it. It gets old really, really fast. But I was just trying to feed my family and like have a really comfortable life, 3-4 vacations a year, just, something middle class. And that 6 to 8% was completely fine with me because I live in a country where, I'm earning dollars, but I'm spending a crappier currency, to be honest. But, it was just the lifestyle thing that like it gave me the freedom to go to a restaurant, to buy dinner for 7 people. You know, I invite friends and family or grandparents or whatever, and I'd like to be the one that puts the card on the table. And that allowed me to do that. So, you know, even if you're anything that's positive, like if you're making 1% a month or 30% a month, it does not matter. You are better than 95% of traders because you are positive. Like that's a huge, huge accomplishment. So don't take it lightly. Don't be like, oh, I could have made 40. Be happy with what you have, respect it, and continue. You will get better. It's like, that's the transition that's the hardest, going from, you know, I can't be profitable every month, or like, oh, this is a negative 2% month or whatever. I was just there. Once you make it over, you like, something clicks.
Let's talk about this journey, because I'm sure that, I mean, everybody has to go through this journey. It take what, 1, 2, 3 years to get profitable. Talk about this journey then, from you started until you, what was the turning point? 1, 2 years in, I mean, we are blowing accounts, we are losing, and suddenly, and what was the, what changed? I mean,
it was a very humbling experience. Because I did all the analysis for the YouTube videos for this crypto company, and I was like, dude, I'm getting really good at this. Like my demo account's looking good. I'm, you know, I'm making money while I'm at my normal job. And then I was like, okay, I need to have a larger sum of money, because you're not going to make, you know, full-time income off of a $100 account. So I saved up some money. I had $10,000. I put it into an account, and I was like, okay, this is the start. I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to have full-time income from this. And the dramatic difference of trading larger capital on a live account versus demo, I was not ready for. I didn't expect it. I didn't have any experience trading, you know, that large of a number.
Was that your mindset, or was that your ego that was not ready? I mean, normally many times traders have a high ego, and later on they need to kill the ego, and then mindset, they have to improve the mindset.
I think it was a mindset thing, because if I saw the number negative or red on a demo account, I was like, I got time. Yeah. But when you see it in that's real money, that's actually money that's gone if you close that trade.
Then you start thinking about, I can buy this, I can buy that.
Like this actually means something.
Yeah.
And so I started stressing out, and it was a vicious circle of losing one trade, trying to revenge trade it back, trying to get back my money. And I've since lost that mindset that once you lose a trade, just accept it and move on. That's not your money anymore. That's somebody else's money. So don't ever try to win it back. That will always spiral into, I got to get my money back. And then you feel like somebody stole it from you.
But that's easy to say, right? But what did you do there to overcome it? I mean,
it was after I lost the full 10,000.
Okay.
I blew it all. And I was like, for like months, like I had that hole in my stomach, and I was like, oh my God, that was so much money. Like, did I make the mistake? And then I was like, you know what? It happened. It was my mistake. I obviously don't know as much as I thought that I knew. So it was back to the education side of it. I was like, what am I missing? Because I know that people can do this. I know that people trade professionally. Yeah. What do they know that I don't know yet? Because it was just a fallacy that I thought that I knew everything. It was the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah.
I was on the peak of Mount Stupid,
Yeah.
And then I fell into the valley of despair. And since then I've been working my way up to,
I think that's also such an important point for people who are taking prop challenges, because we see this time and time again as well, where people do so well in the challenge phase and then they get funded. And it is that difference. It's the difference in mindset. And that's the thing that you need to, we're just watching and we're like, oh my God, you were doing so well. Your risk management was so good. You know, what happened?
Yeah.
But it really is that keeping calm and making sure that you're sticking to it and yeah.
So I feel like, and this is extremely counterintuitive, and honestly, it doesn't make sense, but if you say you start, working your normal job, saving your money, and you have a big safety net, and it's a really cushy safety net, like you have 6 months of living expenses. So if you stopped going to work, you'd be completely fine. You could still go out to dinners, still go on vacation. Everything's fine. When you have that amount of capital behind you, then you don't see trading as a necessity. It's not that like, I have to make this money because I have to buy groceries this week. If you have that necessity with the added pressure to your trading, it's so much more stressful. If you don't have that financial burden where like it has to work, otherwise I'm screwed, it causes way too much stress in your trades. You need to find yourself in like pure tranquility where like when you, let's say you got to change the settings on your computer and you have to click the start menu and then go to, program settings. That's how I want your trading to be. You just click buttons because it's a sequence of events that you need to do, not putting your emotions into it. All emotional decisions are catastrophic. This is an analytic and intelligence game. You need to go with statistics and numbers and strategy. So go into trading with a clear mind, do your analysis, enter your trade. Don't look at it. If you have emotional problems, don't look at it, because it's only after the trade that the emotions take in place. You see the red numbers, you see it, a news candle spiking, and you start freaking out. None of that was happening while you were calm and intelligent and stoic. It was after that the emotions came in. It's the worst.
But I'm sure there has been a lot of work behind before you will be able to come to that, peace of mind. Let's talk about your morning routine. I'm sure you do this every Monday morning. When people, the market will open soon. What do people do? What do you do to be able to prepare yourself? Put your mind in the right spot so you can be calm. So I'm not gonna take this trade.
So I've always had really weird jobs at different hours. Like I was a night bellman, so I would be up all night, the graveyard shift. And so when it came to me being disciplined into picking a different time frame to work, it was always what's the best for me where I can be uninterrupted. And so I started waking up ridiculously early because I knew that my sleep schedule would adapt. Your body adapts to any type of circumstances. And I knew that my wife wakes up at 8 or 9, my kid, same time. Most people go to work at 9 a.m. So I figured, okay, what's a time that I can be uninterrupted? And so it was that 5 a.m. mark. And after a while, like you do it for 6 months, your body wakes up naturally. I would always wake up 4 or 5 minutes before my alarm. And so I wake up and it's still dark outside. It's quiet. It's peaceful. And I can't really socialize in the morning. Like even when I sleep in and I wake up with my wife, it's so chaotic. I want that time to just brush my teeth, think about the things that I need to do today. I've already written my to-do list on my whiteboard the night before.
So you're prepared.
It starts the night before, 100%,
okay.
Because I won't leave my office until I have a clear set of tasks for the next day.
Okay.
And then so I don't have to groggily like, oh, what do I have to do today? I know what I have to do today. So it's just me waking up and getting cognizant and in the zone. And it's just the ramp up from brushing my teeth, having my coffee, getting into the office, having clean workspace, everything set up. And then once that computer fires up, I look at my whiteboard and I'm like, okay, these are my tasks. This is my trading window, and I just do it. I know there was a quote that I heard from a podcast just like this, and it was, the magic is in the work that you're avoiding. So it's always like that secret sauce is always in the things that you're avoiding doing, because it's either uncomfortable, you don't want to, it's boring, whatever. The boring work is where the money's made every single time.
Yeah. I remember one of the first advices I got from your channel was, so you said something like, so now when you have entered the trade, close your computer and go for a run. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Of course I have to sit and watch the computer to understand if I should step out of the market, go in. This helped a lot, but why do you think that it helped?
Because I knew it was a thing that I struggled with. The sitting there and watching a trade is always when I made the mistakes. It's always when I fell into the revenge trading hole.
Yeah.
And I knew that, like, even let's say I got into a trade super late in my day, like it's at the end of my trading window, so I have to hold it for longer than I would have. So I get home to my child and I have an active trade. Try having stress of an active trade while your child's like, oh my God, let's build a snowman. And you're pulling out your phone and checking this trade. You're not being fully immersed into, raising your child. And so that active trade, all of the stress and anxiety that would come with it And I was like, okay, this is a trigger for me. I know that I can't handle this. So I have
Made
hobbies.
a decision. Yeah.
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 So like now it's enter a trade, close the thing, delete the trading platform from your phone. Like I don't have MT4, MT5 on my phone. I don't have like nothing.
Yeah.
I don't even have socials on my phone. It's just I have a work tab that has all of the emails and Discord even because it's not social for me.
Yeah.
But everything
so you
else.
even cleaned your phone from apps, from everything that can take your attention.
Yeah. I actually, because I got bored one night and I was like, oh, I'm gonna download some video games on my phone. That sounds like fun. And I downloaded like the Sonic Runner where you're running I played it once and I have 5 apps that I've literally never opened. Like I can't waste my time on it.
How, because I guess that's a kind of a transition to go to that. I guess probably you call it deep work, getting into that flow state.
The flow.
And how did you systematically go? Because obviously I'm sure it was like you had socials, you had the apps at one time. How did you systematically go from having all of this clutter and distraction to getting to that point of that deep work, that flow?
Deadlines, obligations, and deadlines made me so much more efficient at doing my work. So I realized that, and my wife hates me for this, but I text her before and I'm like, do not bother me for 6 hours unless somebody's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone is in airplane mode, so I won't get any notifications. And I know that if I sit down and I start, because it's the inertia thing, things that are in motion tend to stay in motion. So it's getting out of bed. It's starting running. That's the hardest part. But once you get the flow, you start to find a rhythm, right? And that's why they call it flow. And so I'll start recording a mindset video on, being more disciplined. And I'm like, I have a great idea for the next video. And I will sit there video after video. I'll pump out 7 videos and then I'll feel accomplished. I'll turn off the camera, upload all the footage. And then again, you have to kind of break that momentum and start again and do the editing. So I have like time blocks for my tasks. And if I don't finish the task in that time block, that's okay. I move it to tomorrow's to-do list. But it's all about the flow. Like when I'm in flow, I'm unstoppable. Like I literally, so we made an ICT course, because a lot of people were asking about it. It's very, very popular. And I knew a little bit of information, but people wanted in-depth everything. And so I had to learn it. I sat there and I watched all of ICT's videos on 2x speed.
Yeah.
For I think it was 180 hours.
Yeah, you got a lot of videos.
And I just sat there and I'm like, I'm taking notes on everything. And I'm like, okay, this video is important. This timestamp of this video, I'm just watching, taking notes, and then rewatching the important things. But I spent 180 hours pretty much straight, minus 5 hours of sleep every night, like in my office, watching those videos, learning, writing it down, planning out my videos on that topic to make it simplified, and then going to sleep for 5 hours and then starting again the next day.
And that's why you are big on YouTube. I mean, exactly what you're explaining now, the work you put in behind that people don't see. I mean, you could just have opened the camera. You have so much experience already. You could have talked a little about ICT, but the amount of work you have been putting in to give that 1-2 minute, I think that's explaining everything. I
mean, like that whole series, I think it's 12 videos. Each video is 15 minutes. And I condense, essentially 400 hours worth of ICT content.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And people are like, oh, you can't do that. You can't learn something. Yes, if you take the most important aspects of every single point, like if I asked you what an apple was, you're not going to go into a theory of an apple and like why the skin is this specific color or shade. Like there's a definition of an apple.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to get to. What are the most simplest ways of looking at things? And so, I feel like you can learn ICT in 29 minutes.
So when somebody watches that 29 minutes, what are the next steps for them? Because obviously you've watched those 400 hours, you've condensed it down, you put it into a format now that people can actually absorb, I assume, let's say 80-90% of the value from that 400 hours. what's that person's next step? What do they need to do to then really absorb and make that usable?
So it's a multi-layered answer. So I'm going to start with the beginning. The way that I tell people that they're going to learn is you're going to learn everything step by step from A to Z, and then you won't use everything, but you need to know it. So we go through the basics of candle formations and chart patterns and Fibonacci and then price action, ICT, SMC, and we go through everything. And then at the end, like, okay, what was the thing that made the most sense for you? That was like an easy adaptation. Like, oh my God, price action made so much sense. Oh, I love Fibonacci retracements. Hyper focus on that, but you're fully educated on everything. So it's just a step in the course that they need to go through to be fully educated. And if it resonates with them, then like on each of the major sections, like the price action, like the smart money concepts, I will show them 70, 80 examples of how exactly this looks on the charts. Here's your entire PDF workbook. If you want to trade this way, this workbook is your Bible. It should be open on your desk as you're trading, and you are looking for these exact same setups. So it's pattern recognition. This is what I learned. I need to find it here. It's like a word hunt or, you know, one of those crossword puzzles. And it's the practice, because I do this analogy all the time. If I want to get bigger arms and a bigger chest, there's no way possible I can do that by reading about push-ups. I need to get on the floor and I need to do the work and I need to do the reps and I need to do it for a long time, because 100 push-ups one day in my life is not going to make me big and strong. But 100 push-ups every single day for 3 years, and you're going to have a different physique. But you don't see that change every single day. You don't look at yourself in the mirror and like, oh, I think I'm a quarter of a millimeter bigger on my right arm. Like, you don't see it. But if you take a before and after, like look at your life right now, if you're a beginner, and then 4 years from now, and actually spend that 4 years working on yourself, you will see a difference. You just have to wait. And a lot of people aren't patient.
How can people get access to it if they want to see what your notes and regarding ICT? How can...
Yeah, so I have a website called The Trading Floor. It's trdfloor.com. And it's a monthly membership. It's super cheap. The whole goal of it was like the Walmart business plan, you know, low price for everybody. So it's got a syllabus guide. It's got everything step by step. It's $20 or 20 GBP per month. And you just go in there and start with the syllabus and like, here's step one. And there's check boxes. I don't know if you guys know, I'm obsessed with these things, because that, like, my to-do list that I do every single night, it's on the wall and there's a little square next to it. And when I complete the task, I check it.
Nice.
And it seems like a waste of time, but you get a dopamine spike every single time you do that. And dopamine is addictive. That's why people they get dopamine spikes when they eat Snickers, those little mini ones.
Yeah, but I don't do this with my Snicker.
Yeah, exactly. But you still get the dopamine spike, and you get addicted to it. And you realize you ate all of your kids' Halloween candy.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, these dopamine spikes, every time I accomplish a task, they get addictive. And that's why I'm an obsessive person on it, because I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to doing the steps, because I know if I do 157,000 steps over the next 10 years, I'm going to be on a level that I couldn't even fathom.
But you're also very good in details.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of your skills. Or you wouldn't sit so many hours and go into all those videos and make it easy for Gary and I to learn about ICT. I think that's...
Well, I think it's more of an ego thing, because imagine if I taught something and I got something wrong. That's permanently on the internet forever. And people like to hyper focus on the mistakes that you make. So I don't want to be the schmuck that like, oh, I heard this from my Uncle Jim, and you know, just putting out false information saying that it's fact. So I like to cross-reference myself. I try to be as factual as humanly possible with the resources at hand. So it's a lot of pressure on me, but I don't even think about it until you brought it up. Thanks.
I'm watching you.
Yeah, well, I think you deep down, you love it anyway. I think you love to have that fully analyzed, so that even for your own achievement.
Yeah, it's a sick obsession that I have. if something interests me, it's game over. I will devour every single piece of information on it on the internet that exists, in books, everywhere, in groups, Reddit, forums, everything, because I hyper focus on like, okay, I need to know every aspect of this. It interests me, so I need to educate myself on it, because nobody's going to teach me. Like,
before you started your YouTube channel, you did a lot of video content before, right? You knew what you were doing. I mean, you were good at it.
If you look back at those videos, it doesn't look like I knew what I was doing.
I remember the video you posted where you got 100K followers and YouTube sent you the play one. And I could see in your eyes, like this one, I mean, it meant something for you.
Yeah.
Right? It was not just like, hey, I reached 100K.
No, it was an absurd goal. Like, because my goals are always so outlandish. I make them with the intention I'm probably not going to get it, but it would be cool if I did. And so that one was one of those, this is never going to happen, but how cool would it be, if I tried? And it happened. And it was one of the first times in my life where some absurd goal that I had actually happened, and I didn't know what to do after. Because another analogy. If you have to travel a long distance on foot, just walk to the horizon and you will be able to see further. And so I'd reached my horizon, or what I thought was like the pinnacle. And I was like, I don't know where to go. I have so many opportunities now. And I was lost for a minute, and I was like, you know what? Keep doing the same work.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good point. I think very similarly to that as well. I say to myself, I'm going to make a massive goal, and I'm happy when I get, because I think I probably won't achieve it. However, when I get to 80%, I'm satisfied, and it's more than what I would have achieved if I made a lesser goal and achieved that. And I think that maybe comes down to a character point where so many people are terrified of failure. Whereas to me, I don't mind. It's fine, because it's already huge anyway. So, why not fail, but still be further than where you thought you might have achieved?
Yeah, it's falling forward.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're going to fall, don't fall on your ass, fall forward. So push yourself. Do something absurd.
How do you
shoot for the stars and land amongst the clouds? That's the phrase, right?
Yeah. Did you ever make that mindset shift to that point, or was that always a way that you operated?
To hyper obsess about things?
Well, to go
shoot
for further.
Yeah. So I actually made a video on this. It's I just released it yesterday. It's about manifesting and visualizing. And so I read the secret and all that's witchcraft. A lot of people think it's like pseudoscience, but my thought process on it was, okay, it's either a fact that we can't scientifically prove, or it's not. If you do it, you win either way. So why not manifest? Why not have these ridiculous goals? Why not put it into your subconscious mind that you will be, you will start an empire. You will create a financial wall around your family that nothing can destroy. Why not? Because worst case scenario, you were just, wrong. Yeah. Best case scenario, that's actually right. And the only way to do that is to put it into your subconscious mind and visualize it and manifest it.
And how do you do that? I mean,
I use vision boards.
Okay.
Yeah. So like my desktop screensaver is like vacation spots, and it's just a collage of things.
Okay.
I used to actually print these things out and stick them on my wall because I didn't have a TV. I can't stand TV. It's just on the wall, usually for an aesthetic reason, but I took it down, I sold it, and I put the whole TV wall as like a collage. And it was just cool things like, oh, that would be cool. Oh, that would be cool. Oh, a helicopter. And dude, staring at it, like I'm reading, doing schoolwork, staring at that thing every day, it embeds into your subconscious mind. And a few years later, I'm like looking at a picture that I took of that wall. 80% of it's done. I did those things like because they just happened in my life, because my subconscious mind kind of directed me there.
And I think, because I think often one of the things people focus on around that, and they're kind of saying, "Oh, it doesn't work," I think is because people they're visualizing, but maybe not then putting in the work to achieve it. And I think that's probably one of the key things, is making sure, okay, you're trying to manifest this, you're trying to get to that point, but you still got to do the work.
Yeah.
You still have to.
You got to do them push-ups.
Yeah. You can't just imagine the push-ups.
Yeah, and and that's usually why people fail, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I don't know why I'm not successful. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. I'm like, it's because you binged watched Breaking Bad for literally the last 4 weeks of your life. So what did you expect?
Yeah.
How if you look at your trading and in general, how many percent do you think you spent looking at your strategy and charts combined with spending time on your mindset?
I very passively look at charts because I have TradingView like widget on my home screen. So I just I glance at it as I glance at the time that often per day.
Yeah.
And so I see, Bitcoin 36,752. Okay. Bitcoin, it went up 1,200, it's always in the back of my mind. I have a live ticker of Bitcoin in my head.
Yeah.
And so that's just a passive thing in my life. I know what levels that I see the price sitting at and rejecting at historically. So those are very interesting to me. If Bitcoin, was below 20 and then goes up to 20, I'm like, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
But a majority of, I'm honestly, you guys are going to hate this, but it's 90% mindset. It's being calm. It's being stoic. It's being ready for it. It's shooting, making ridiculous goals. It's being systematic. It's such a multifaceted thing. Like, you have to be disciplined. Trading's hard. Trading is really hard, but it's super worth it.
I remember I saw another video also in the beginning where you're working with a girl, and you told us a story, and it was about that. I think she made something like 40K one month, and I was like, wow, she made 40K, and she still got her job, and I was like, what? Why does she still have her job? What is going on here, right? And why is that so important to have a job? And I mean, at the same time, if you make 40K a month, it's a lot of money for many people, right? That's the moment where many people will probably say, sorry, I want to quit my job now, right?
So that person, I met them in like random trading groups, I met them in one, I would move to another one, and that person was still there. I was like, okay. So you form bonds with these people in these trading communities. That person is currently my business partner on the trading floor project. And she likes helping people. So she's a nurse practitioner for children that and this is quite bad, like children that are either abandoned or physically abused, or, born of a drug addicted mother and, going through withdrawals the moment they're born. She's the lady that takes care of these kids. And so that was her full-time job. And she needed to make more money. She wanted to do her thing because that's her calling, right? But she wanted to make more money to have a specific lifestyle. Sometimes the two things that you want to do don't, match up. So the trading happened, and she was like, I got to figure this out, made the money. And she's consistently absurd. Like, I quite hate the fact that she makes so much money trading because I can't figure out how she does it. I can't do it like she can. But, she just keeps trading, keeps making money, but is also very successful in other aspects in life. Like, she's got the nursing, she's got the trading, she's also got real estate, she's got other pop-up businesses. She owns a slew of ATM machines. She's just that type of person that has the drive. Yeah. And the funny thing is, as she was a younger person in school, her counselors would say, oh, you have like an attention deficit disorder, you have a learning disability, you're not going to amount to anything. And so she's that type of person that's like, oh yeah, watch me.
Yeah.
And so she's just been trying to prove it to the world ever since.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's important to keep, if your job sucks and you hate it, you should leave it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to make you miserable. It's a negative thing in your life. But if your job's something you actually like if I worked at a store that sold snowboards and I was making $7.50 an hour, I would stay there. Like, I like that. I like those types of people. It's always been a dream of mine to open up my own, ski shop where I have a bunch of Oakley and Burton, everything. I would be my own consumer most of the time, but it would be cool because that's my people. That's my culture. Like, I love that.
Yep.
And so I would literally lose money and do that happily.
Yeah. Should we swing it back to trading?
Yeah.
I think to that point as well, I think you tapped on the community element. So effectively, that is your people, your community. And in trading, I think that's also really, really important, is finding that community, because I think having people who are going through the same thing as you and somebody to talk to rationalize things out, to talk about your trades and what you're doing is very, very important. How has that played a factor in your trading career?
When you're starting out and you're a beginner, you kind of honestly have it in the back of your head. Is this really possible? Like, is this just a wet dream that I have? And then you get into these communities and you actually see people doing it. And if you can see somebody doing it, it's easier for you to visualize yourself doing it. And so that's what I did. I got into these communities. I saw people doing it. I would hyper focus on the people that were successful. And there's different tiers of it, right? There's the intermediate or the beginner person that doesn't know anything. There's the intermediate traders. There's the advanced. And so once you start moving through these different levels, like, I didn't know anything. And then I moved to being a profitable trader. I realized that, like, I was in this community to help other people and, like, bring people up with me. Right. So I would start answering questions of things that I already knew the answers to, but I would also be asking questions to the more professional traders making more money. Hey, how do you do this? And so that knowledge, that's what a community is for, is passing down the knowledge. That's what we as a society are for, is to pass down everything that we learn in our lifetime, pass it down to the next generation so they don't make the same mistakes. It's the number one thing about education. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. And so, I mean, trading communities, like, even, FunderPro has the Discord community. Discord communities, I wish I had them when I was growing up. They're so genre specific, and, like, this is what we talk about in this community, nothing else. Like, I'm in a community about this series of books, and I'm obsessed with these books, and I talk about this book with this community. But I have my trading communities, and that's where I make my friends. That's where my business partner right now, I've never met her. I've never seen her face in real life. And we've started, a big business together. She taught me so many things, and, like, I can't even shake her hand and say thank you.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So,
and I think in the community, I think one of the important things is getting involved, and being, I suppose, a contributor into it, and being, physically active in it. I suppose, what do you say to those people who are sitting on the sidelines, watching what's going on in the community, absorbing some of the information? What would you say to them that might convince them, to take that step, make that first input into the community?
If you're struggling with that, you're probably an introvert, and I completely get that. Get into a community, introduce yourself. If you've been in that community for a while and you've never said anything, introduce yourself. Just be like, hey, this is me. And it's an icebreaker for you. Like, people are going to see that comment and just kind of let it pass by, but it's going to be the icebreaker for you to actually do that. And then as you do that, you'll start reading other people's questions. And it might even just be the fact that, you know the answer to one of the questions that people, and you feel you contributed, right? You gave the answer to a question you already know the answer to. Like, oh, what's the wick on a candle? And you're like, oh, I know that. And that just spurs into it. Then you'll start asking questions. You'll get more comfortable. It's kind of a weird transition. It's the same thing when you go to a party. You don't know anybody there. You have your one friend, Greg, and you're just being around him the whole time. But you got to socialize. You got to network. It's uncomfortable a little bit, but eventually by the end of the night, you've made friends and you build relationships over your life. They're extremely important, especially with day trading. It's a really lonely job. If I didn't have any trading communities and I just sat in a little office in a dark room by myself all day looking at candles, I would lose my mind. It's not a fun Like, I love the lifestyle pictures of the boats and the Lamborghinis, but the actual fact of trading is like, that's it.
Yeah. And I think to bring it back to the trading, one of the things that we're, I suppose, always thinking about and always, discussing at FunderPro is a lot of, the prop industry is relatively new, and the amount of people that are in traditional trading accounts and trading their own capital is obviously still far, far bigger. But there is a huge benefit of the funded account sphere. How do you see the difference between those two? And I suppose for a trader, what are the types of things that maybe they need to consider as they go from a live funded account of their own capital to taking a challenge and becoming funded and trading on a funded account?
Trading your own capital is difficult. You have to first have it, which is difficult to get. And so a lot of people, like, I recommend you stay on a demo account. Like, you should stay on a demo account until you've proven yourself that you're ready, that you have the confidence to actually do this on a live account. And that's why I love that FunderPro has a free trial, because if you're going to demo, why not demo it where you actually get the statistics, you actually get the trade entries, you get your profit factor, you get everything, and back, like, you get to journal your trades without actually having to journal them. They're right there on the dashboard. And so do that, do the free trial over and over and over and over again. And then the transition into a funded account is going to be so much easier because you have the confidence. Like, you could do it in your sleep at that point. If you pass 50 free trials, it's going to be easy. But
do you think it's important to start with a big account size or a small account?
Small. I'm assuming most people are like me because I'm my avatar, right? I speak to my audience because I was there. I pretty much max out mindset wise at a $50,000 account. If it's anything over that, I start to make mistakes because I'm unaccustomed to the bigger numbers. My brain can't see, minus 1,000 when that was my take profit before. And so I'm eventually, like, I'll get used to it, but I can slay with a $50,000 account. And I also trade a lot of crypto. So that's just reckless trading. But the difference between having a large account and a small account, it's better to have a large account because you're going to be making more money, but every tier has a different level. So if you're going to get into funded trading and you're going to start with the 200K account, you might be comfortable with it, but you might also have issues. It might be intelligent for you to not give up right away, but move down to a lower tier. Find out what's comfortable for you, because everybody's going to be different. Like, I know people that kill it on 10K accounts, and they could just do that day in and day out. It's fine. But a 100K account couldn't even get one successful trade.
I think that's actually could be a great feature to have it so that you're working off analytics rather than financial numbers.
Yeah.
So that you, let's say, as a user, have the ability to toggle between your statistics and not actually look at the financial amounts at all.
Yeah.
That could be really cool.
Yeah. Like, I always thought it would be a great idea because I know that I can handle a 50K account, right? So if I had trades on my 50K account and then somebody, unbeknownst to me, did a copy trader on 100 or 200K accounts, I would never know. I would never look at it, and I could just trade and it would just compound.
And
I think that's an important point because and it comes back to the mindset and the psychology part, where I suppose you find where you're comfortable and you need to operate in that comfort zone. Obviously, it's good to push your comfort zone. But at the end of the day, if that's your optimal place to work, it's important. And I think you made a really good point of, just because you swing for the fences, it didn't quite make it there, maybe adapt, don't give up.
Yeah.
Adapt, bring it back to where you might be more comfortable and try again.
Yeah.
And keep going. Because as you say, we're, the reason why we put those free trials in there as well is that exact reason that you said. People need to get a feeling for it. Some people are beginning in their trading career. Some people even maybe quite heavily advanced in live accounts, but they need to get that feeling because it is a different experience. Even psychologically, it's different because at first you're taking a challenge in your mind. You're trying to compete, but still, it's demo. And then eventually you get into that live account. And then again, psychologically, it's different because, you're trading, one, with big capital, and two, you didn't physically put that money from your bank account in there. And so potentially there's that little bit of a detachment from that capital.
Yeah.
And so I think there's those few little things that make the experience different for a trader. And so, yeah, needing to try it, test it, get comfortable with it, and then dive in is very important.
Yeah. And most people, I don't know if you'll understand why, so I'm going to explain it. The reason why is your upbringing. We are a product of our environment, right? So me, like I was broke a lot of times in my life. So like ramen is 99 cents. That's what I could afford. Filet mignon is $300. If ramen eating Arty was served a $300 steak, he would be out of his comfort zone. It's the same as really wealthy people that like they're given a yacht for their 18th birthday. They are on a different level mentally. They are prepared for that sum of money. Whereas somebody that gets a new pair of Nikes for $150, that's on a lower tier, and that's what they're used to. So you just have to practice on the specific tiers. Start with the small account. Work your way up to a big one. The best strategy is to buy the cheapest funded account and then use your winnings from that to buy the bigger accounts once you're ready.
Yeah.
It's all about the tier.
Yep. Or scale.
Yeah.
Because again,
the scaling is nice.
Yeah.
A $3.5 million account.
And you only trade 50 grand of it.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, literally, once you get to that big of an amount, you're risking way, way, way less. You're not risking 1% of $3 million. There is no way. Like 0.1%, 0.2%. Very good. Very good. Big numbers.
Yeah. And I think, again, I suppose that was one of the key drivers of us really trying to push it in the prop space, was because of that fact. Knowing that, as you say, you don't want the cars. You just have the roof over your head, comfortable life, family, food, vacations. And for people doing that from an account that's $1,000, $2,000 is just incredible risk. If you want to have, let's say, $3,000 at the end of the month and you got 1,000 account, you got to 4x that account so that you can take out that 3,000.
Yeah.
Whereas you got a 100K challenge, you only have to make 3% and you're done.
Yeah.
And so bringing that risk down is just so important. But I take your point as well. You need to feel it on the smaller amounts and then work your way up and get comfortable.
Yeah. Some people adapt quickly. Some people are just, oh yeah, I was meant to be a rich person. I wasn't. It just happened through circumstance.
A question I would ask, just going back to something you said a little bit earlier. So when you were talking about, getting that comfort zone, going for, what sustained your family, what kept food on the table, what sustained those things, how did you, because what can be very easy as a human is to get comfortable at that point and want more, and get comfortable at the next point and want more. How did you see in your life, how did you, I suppose, not escalate in that wanting and being happy and being comfortable at the level where you said you were going to be comfortable at?
I'm quite a humble person and I don't like spending lots of money on things that I'm probably going to ruin. Like I like action sports and mountain biking, so I would never wear $1,000 shirt. Like I like to buy the shirts that come in 5-packs. So just I'm much more humble with it. So I mean I drove a Passat for a long time, but I had a ton of money, and it's a great car. Do you know how much stuff you could fit in a wagon Passat? Like 3 bunk beds for sure. So I'm very practical. But as you get to those different levels, don't immediately put yourself in your own handcuffs, because a lot of people do that, right? They get to a different level financially at their job, they get a promotion. So they literally increase their own expenses along with their income. And that's just gonna, like, you need to think about your profit factor of your life. Yeah. If you spend less money than you make, you're way more comfortable, because you could be a millionaire, but your expenses are $999,999. So your profit is $1. So somebody that makes 40 grand a year but spends 20 is way wealthier than you. So it's all about perspective. Like if you can live a normal lifestyle, as you build and make more money, that will accumulate, and then you can take a step in the forward direction in your lifestyle and the cars that you drive, and you won't feel it financially. Like imagine driving a Passat at $40,000 a year, but then you're making $15 million a year, still driving a Passat, and you upgrade to a Mercedes. Your wallet is not going to feel that difference. Period.
Yeah.
Delay.
Yeah, it's funny because even I have a really nice car now, and still I'm like, every time a Golf GTI goes past, I'm like, oof. It's funny. I think when you also sometimes when you make that jump, you don't value what you're getting, what you're spending that money on. And so I think it's also being kind of wise in that sense of saying, okay, like you said, you're into your action sports, and that's why that's a good area to spend on. Whereas, sometimes you might think you want the thing because maybe that's what you see out there. And so you think that you should have that.
Yeah.
But you're not getting that joy out of that thing. Yeah.
Delete Instagram, and then you won't want those things because you won't see them every day.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this last night. A lot of people that are traders, they want the Lamborghini because that's what they see the influencers doing. Because I like action sports, I wanted a Ford Fiesta with a turbo and all-wheel drive like Ken Block. So I bought one. My $10,000 Ford Fiesta is way more fun than your $300,000 Lamborghini. I can promise you.
Yeah,
I would love to see that on YouTube. Welcome to my new car.
I'm gonna do it when I get back.
Nice.
Put some winter tires and donuts in the snow.
It would be fantastic. It would be a good one.